Welcome to Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller. Today we're celebrating the birthday of one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Burt Lancaster. And to commemorate it, we're showing a picture in which Lancaster gives his most unexpected performance, and maybe the most memorable. From 1957, it's Sweet Smell of Success. Lancaster not only plays the picture's antagonist, fearsome newspaper columnist J.J. Hunsaker, he produced the movie as well, with his business partners Harold Hecht and James Hill. Originally, they had another actor in mind for the acid-tongued Hunsaker, Orson Welles. Welles had returned to Hollywood from self-imposed exile, taking all the acting jobs he could, as he needed the dough to finance films he wanted to make in Europe. But after the success of Trapeze, in which Lancaster and Tony Curtis played circus acrobats, no big stretch for Burt, the actor-producer decided to play Hunsaker himself and give Curtis his best role yet. As Sidney Falco, a hustling press agent who shamelessly sucks up to the all-powerful Hunsaker, Curtis reverted to being the New York street kid that Hollywood was polishing into a matinee idol. And Bernie Schwartz gives, by his own estimation, the best performance of his career. Now, the film's genesis was a novel by Ernest Lehman, a native New Yorker who based his story on his experiences as a Big Apple PR flack in the 1940s. Its publication used up all the goodwill Lehman had banked in New York. Everybody in his professional coterie thought he was writing about them. So when Paramount Studios offered him a job, Lehman jumped coasts and hit Hollywood running, writing on Executive Suite, Sabrina, Somebody Up There Likes Me, and The King and I during his first 2 years in town. He did not, however, get on with the producers of this film. Lehman described their business style and their lives as corrupt and evil. Now, one thing that was indisputable, production was utter chaos. Shooting was scheduled in Manhattan for the winter of 1956, before Lehman had finished the script. Working on the project had made him sick, and his doctors wouldn't allow him to go to New York with the crew. Lancaster accused Lehman of faking illness to get away from him. To direct, Lancaster chose Alexander Sandy McKendrick. McKendrick was a Scotsman who'd made a few classic comedies at Ealing Studios, including Whiskey Galore, The Man in the White Suit, and The Lady Killers. When Ealing was sold to the BBC, McKendrick came to America looking for work. He signed a deal with Hecht Hill Lancaster after Lancaster promised he'd get to direct another of the company's projects, The Devil's Disciple. Well, Lancaster thought he was hiring a director he could dominate, but he would learn different. It was McKendrick's idea to bring on playwright Clifford Odets to spice up Lehman's script. Odets had written The Big Knife, a vicious excoriation of Hollywood. And the producers hoped he had some bile left over to sling at the New York media. And Odets did not disappoint. Sweet Smell of Success bristles with nasty dialogue.
Could I come in for a minute?
No, you're dead, son. Get yourself buried.
I'd hate to take a bite out of you. You're a cookie full of arsenic.
If you're funny, James, I'm a pretzel. Drop dead.
Son, I don't relish shooting mosquitoes with elephant guns. Suppose you just shuffle along and call it a day.
McKendrick was worried the dialogue would come off as exaggerated and implausible. But Odets told him, play it fast. Stage scenes not for the words, but for the situations. Play it all on the run, and it'll work just fine. The actors, especially the stars, make Odets' purple prose believable. Their characters are, after all, writers, creating and acting out their own streetwise mythology, and the flashy dialogue fits them perfectly. Production in Manhattan was a shoot-by-night improvisation, an exhilarating but excruciating experience for a director who was a perfectionist, sometimes calling for 20 or 30 takes of a simple scene, which infuriated Lancaster. McKendrick had previously worked within the safety and security of a studio. Now he was shooting on the fly with big stars in Times Square under freezing conditions, with Clifford Odets squished in the back of the prop truck banging out new dialogue for scenes to be shot just minutes later. McKendrick and Lancaster came close to duking it out several times. Lancaster was an intimidator who exerted his will over everyone. But McKendrick didn't back down, though in later interviews he admitted he was afraid that Lancaster would physically attack him. Cast and crew recalled making the film in a state of near hysteria. No one was sure what was happening moment to moment. But what did happen was that all the swirling nastiness, hostility, and cynicism imbued itself in every foot of film. Sweet Smell of Success emerged from the cutting room a perverse, unpleasant, brilliant, and profound film, arguably the best work of everyone involved. Now, some may doubt its credibility as noir. There's no murders, no femme fatale, no blatant or punishable crimes. But if you're hip to a noir ethos, a bleak and jaundiced view of the world, and the cruel nature of the people who inhabit it, Sweet Smell of Success is as noir as it gets. And if you want a wild ride through the neon jungle, this movie satisfies like no other, thanks to cinematographer James Wong Howe. It's the definitive depiction of Manhattan after dark. The camera work's a visual corollary to the film's verbal sensationalism, a cinematic equivalent of the tabloid style this movie both relishes and rips into. Hey, there's something Ben Mankiewicz and I agree upon. This is not only one of the best movies of the 1950s, it's one of the best ever. Featuring a fantastic jazz score by the great Elmer Bernstein, who called this production a snake pit, here is Sweet Smell of Success.